Right, so now let's get into practicing volume with cylinders. If you remember, what is the volume formula for a cylinder? It's pi times the radius squared times the height of the cylinder. Remember, this essentially replaces the b part for the volume of a prism formula. Because what is our base? Our bases are circles in a cylinder, right? Let's just take the info that we have then and substitute it in our formula. First off, the volume formula is going to be pi. Now you could use 3.14, but I highly recommend that you guys use the pi symbol. If you see it, it's right here on your calculator to get the most accurate answer possible. Okay, so pi times the radius. What's the radius of our base? Clearly labeled there, 9 foot. What are we going to do with the 9? Squared. Times that by the height of the cylinder. What is the perpendicular distance between our bases? 6. You're going to find these cylinder volume formulas going to be pretty straightforward. Let's work this out. That's going to be pi, times 9 squared times 6. I'm going to go ahead and multiply 81 times 6 on my calculator here. 81 times 6 is 486. But now we still need to multiply 486 times pi. Now again, I'm going to use the pi symbol on my calculator. So times pi gives us an answer of 1,526.81. If we round correctly, we're just going to leave it at 0.8. Again, this is volume, so how are you going to label this? This is cubic feet in this case. All right? Very straightforward. Again, to get the most accurate answer possible, use the pi symbol in your calculator, okay? Let's try another one. Now, this might be the only type of trickery you might get in one of these volume formulas for a cylinder. Because the volume formula for a cylinder asks for what two pieces? It asks for radius and height of the cylinder. Now, what is the radius of our circle there? Is it 7? No, as a matter of fact, it's not. 7 is the length of, if you notice, they're pointing to the whole diameter here. Now what do you do to the diameter to get the radius? If the diameter here is 7 centimeters, take half of that. Your radius is 3.5. So that's what we're going to plug in for the radius. Let's go ahead and do that. Times the height of the cylinder. Again, pretty straightforward. The perpendicular distance here, 9.9. Right? Order of operations, why don't we square the 3.5 first? I get 12.25, 12.25. We're going to multiply that by 9.9 right now. I get 121.275. We still have to multiply that by pi. Again, the symbol pi, to get the most accurate answer possible. I am getting 380.9966. I'm writing this out so you could tell me, if I rounded this properly, what would the volume of this cylinder be? It would be 381. We'll add a 0.0 like that. 381 what? Cubic centimeters. There you go. One more for you guys. Kind of a tricky one, but it shouldn't be too crazy. Now you notice they give us the volume. Volume of this cylinder is 2,420 cubic feet. What's missing though is the x here, which is what part of the cylinder? That's the height of the cylinder, correct? So essentially what they're asking for in this problem is, what is the height of this cylinder? Well, let's bring up the volume formula again. For a cylinder, it's pi times the radius squared times the height. Yes? What info have they given us? We said at the beginning they gave us the volume, so why don't we plug that in for volume? And that's equal to pi times the radius. Do we have the radius of this cylinder? Sure do. 8, that'll be squared. And we're going to multiply that by the height. Again, the height in this cylinder is the piece we don't know. That's what we're trying to find. We're going to solve for x in this formula here. So let's go through and square 8. And let's multiply 64 times pi. (64) times the symbol pi, again, to get the most accurate answer, I'm getting 201.06, so I'm going to round it to 1. And we're, again, trying to find x here. So what do we do to solve for x? And let's divide out the 201.1 on both sides here. That'll give us the height of our cylinder, which is 12.03. I'm going to leave it as 12.0. It's the height. So how are we going to label this? The height of this cylinder is essentially 12 foot.